Hey everyone, it's Jess Tomlinson. I have had a really interesting day, so I felt inspired to create a video for you because today is actually the 1 year anniversary of um, me and my previous boyfriend breaking up. And I know you don't usually celebrate anniversaries of heartbreak or breakups, but this one was a big deal for me, and there were many lessons that I know if I share with you that you will be able to use in your own life so that the process of heartbreak and really dealing with the pain of losing a relationship is just a little bit easier. Um, and the thing is that I've been kind of avoiding talking about this breakup. In fact, it really came clear to me that I haven't been talking about it when a few of my really close friends, obviously they aren't that close, but who I would consider closer, when I saw them in LA a few weeks ago, didn't even know that we weren't together anymore. So, big red flag that I've just been kind of like letting this one simmer, whereas normally I'd be sharing everything. And I think that's okay. So, I'm now ready to share, and it's part of my own healing. Of course, with respect to him, and then also respect to me because this has been my process. So I get to share what I've learned to help my coaching clients and also help you if you are going through something similar, because we all face heartbreak. That's the reality. So, a little bit of background before I kind of get into the lessons. Is that I had met this man last year, and we just fell, fast in love. It was a really like beautiful relationship, really amazing chemistry, and like my heart felt very held, and I felt very seen by him, and um, just like somebody that I could do life with, and that I knew like saw the best in me. And so like many of my relationships, it moved very fast. And 7 months later, he asked if I would be willing to move to San Francisco to be with him. And, I thought about it for a little bit. And then I really came to this moment where it was like, a conversation with God. Like, you've really given me so much. I had a successful coaching business. I had had a great career in corporate for 10 years. Um, and now here's this amazing guy that's everything that I dreamed of. If now is not the time to quit my job and really make this leap into full time coaching and to move and be with this man that I love, like when is the time? And so I trusted, and I really trusted in that. And it felt so good and so empowering and free. And so I didn't move officially, but I did quit my corporate job. And then the day came, that same day, I went and lived with my boyfriend for what was supposed to be 30 days. And so I had made a little home, started to make a little home for myself in San Francisco with him. And 7 days later, I found him on the couch, and it was the quickest breakup conversation that I'd ever had. And what came to be revealed, by the way, I was completely shocked. I wasn't expecting any of this, it was just out of the blue. Um, was that he felt one of our values was completely just not in alignment at all, and that there was no way that that was going to change. And he wasn't okay with this. And so I asked the question that I knew was the most important, and I said, "Are you willing to work on this together?" And he said no, just flat out no. And I knew through in the past putting myself through relationships where I was the one doing the most giving, I was the one putting in the most work, that by him saying no, like there was no point. I was done being the cheerleader for a relationship. I was done convincing that we were meant to be. Like there was just I knew it was one of those moments where I was like, ah, I get it. Like he says no, and that's it. Like in that moment, it was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. But I turned around and I walked away and I respected myself. I respected my value because I know clearly that I want somebody who's 100% in it with me to work through the tough stuff. And so that was my first lesson, was like really, if somebody's not in it with you as much as you are, be done. And that's okay. And that's a hard move. And it really is, but it's the best move for the long term. So I went back to his room. He slept on the couch. I slammed the door and cried. And the next morning, I learned my second lesson. He came in to the bedroom and asked if there was anything he could do for me. And immediately I was like, no, like you're the last person on earth I want anything from, like really just letting out that, what I call the radiant rebel, the fierce feminine inside of me that was just feeling very protective of me. And then I paused for a moment and I really dropped into my heart and I reflected on past relationships that had ended and how it had ended so icky and how I hadn't had an opportunity to really get what I needed in the end, to really feel that the relationship was real and true. And here was this man, who obviously we still loved each other, um, asking me what I needed. And I had a moment where I really embraced what I call my sexy feminine, which is the part of us as women that really desire and need to be nurtured and receive from a man. And I said, you know what? Actually, there's something that you can do for me. And I asked him to hold me because I knew that that whole week I had been craving that. I'd been longing for that. And I knew in that moment that that would help me process the pain, and really validate that this relationship was special and that it was real. Um, and so I allowed myself to do that. So that is my second lesson, to really just gift yourself what you need in that moment of pain. And really remember that no matter how hard the heartbreak is in the moment, that it's okay to still feel good in those moments of pain, that it's really just riding the wave of emotions. And you don't have to close yourself off completely when you're in the pain. There can be kind of like this bittersweet, cathartic process to it all. So that was my second lesson. Then there was one more, a third lesson, which is after I had left his house because he wanted me out like right away. Which was really hard for me because we agreed on 30 days and here I was, away from my home. And so I thank God that I had support from sisters, from women in California that I hopped around to. And they took me in. And during that time, what I really became clear on was that I was so proud of myself for being 100% me in that relationship, really for the first time. Like giving only what I really wanted to give in my heart, but creating really great boundaries for myself. Because in the past I'd been such the overgiver. And really just standing for myself and my worthiness and what I deserved. And what this allowed me to do was to, of course, I was in heartbreak and I was in pain, but it allowed me to not crumble. Like I didn't completely lose myself. And I had this moment where I'm like, wow, this is the difference between having a really healthy relationship, which starts with yourself and your boundaries and believing that you're worthy, and my previous relationships where I gave so much that when it ended, I was like mourning the grief of what I had lost. But in this relationship, the only thing that I lost was our love, our dynamic, but I didn't lose myself. And that creates the greatest amount of pain. So I really hope that you get that as your lesson, to stand true in your needs, in your desires, to really be an advocate for yourself um, in relationships and love, and to know that that will make heartbreak just a little less horrible. Of course, like, heartbreak is inevitable and it's gonna happen, and if we don't fully love deeply, of course you're not gonna have heartbreak, and you can go through life either protecting your heart and not fully experiencing the deep, meaningful love that you deserve and that we all crave, or you can open your heart and risk the pain because it's so worth the reward. So those are my 3 lessons that I really hope inspire you on this anniversary of my own heartbreak. Yeah, I'm feeling like there's a whole new horizon for all of us in love. The more and more that we really own our own feminine gifts, our own feminine power, and we stand for ourselves and nurture ourselves and welcome in a man into that love that we so are capable to give, and only if he really truly deserves it. So, if you are desiring to find out what your feminine power might be, I have 3 really awesome feminine power archetypes that I teach, and you can discover your own. They're feminine gifts that we can use to attract a man who really is the right man for us to welcome in that big, meaningful love. And the archetypes are the playful child, the radiant rebel, and the sexy feminine. And we need them all, but it's kind of fun to find out your own superpower for attraction and how you can really tap into her so that you can attract the love that you so deserve. So if you want to take that quiz and find out which one is your dominant feminine power archetype, you can go to jesstomlinson.com/archetype. It's a free quiz, really fast and simple, and then you get an instant email with 3 in-depth audios that I've created on how you can activate that archetype even more fully in yourself, and also the shadow side, so what to avoid if maybe you are overusing that archetype, so that your archetype and your feminine gifts help you versus hurt you in attracting the right man and the big, meaningful love that you so deserve. So, all right. I'm going to go and I'm going to have some wine and I'm going to celebrate my heartbreak and really open myself even more to the next big love in my life. And I hope to see you around at jesstomlinson.com. Mwah. Sending you so much love.